Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 70 of New Slang. This week I'm joined by one of the hardest working men in show business, Mr. Charley Crockett. He was here in town last week playing at the Cactus Theater. So right before showtime we sat down on his bus and had a conversation about what he's been up to lately. He's been putting out so much music in the last, I guess, like 18 months, 2 cover records and a full length of originals. And then he just recently finished up something with Bruce Robison's The Next Waltz, just a couple of singles on there. And so we talk about that. We talk about writing songs in general, writing songs with Evan Felker. He wrote one with Evan a while back, and he's been playing it at live shows. So you've probably heard it if you've listened to him play in the last, 6 months or so. And we talk about his band and a lot of just stuff in music in general. I don't want to just ruin the entire conversation. You don't want to even hear me say any of that. So anyways, just to, I guess, make sure you guys are caught up on things. I guess it was a couple weeks ago, I sat down for a long conversation, a long phone call with Terry Allen and Kurt Vile, and that was a whole lot of fun. That's over on Rolling Stone now. So if you haven't caught that conversation yet, go ahead and do so. It was kind of surreal at times listening to Kurt and Terry talk. I really didn't know what to expect going in. I had some questions laid out, but you're kind of expecting them to carry most of the conversation, but and they pretty much did. But if things started going off, I'd slip in with a comment or a question to get things back online. Anyways, like I said, that's over on Rolling Stone right now, if you just search for it on social media somehow. A couple weeks ago too, I did a long piece on the 806 Lubbock songwriter retreat that happened about a month ago, and that's over on Texas Monthly. That's like the I guess they've been doing it for 3 years now, and it's just kind of a recount of what happened that weekend. I guess it's not even really a weekend because it was like Monday through Wednesday, but 2 days, whatever. Again, that's over on Texas Monthly. I'm working on a whole bunch of other news stories, so hopefully you'll be checking those out in the next couple of weeks. If you don't follow me on any of the social media, go ahead and do so. I'm at _New Slang on Twitter, same on Instagram. And if you just search New Slang on Facebook, you can find me there as well. So, yeah, if you have any other reason to contact me, go ahead and shoot me an email at, you can shoot it to me at, it's newslang.editors@gmail.com. So, yeah. Also, I say this every time, but, it's kind of important. Please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Tell all your friends and family and co-workers that you listen to New Slang, and get them to subscribe to the podcast. So, yeah, anyways, here is this conversation with Charley Crockett.
What's the deal, Thomas?
I don't know, man. I was gonna start out with what you recently just did. You did that Next Waltz stuff with Bruce.
Yeah.
Did
you get a chance to hear any of that?
Yeah. No, yeah, they sent it over to me. Because we were trying to figure out if I could write it or not, somewhere. But anyways, from what I gather is you guys went in there to do 2 covers, decided to go with these other 2 songs, and kind of finished them up.
We finished them right there in the room and cut them right when we 10 minutes of figuring.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how long, at what point did you decide, yeah, well, let's just do these 2 songs instead? Like, what's that process of?
Mayo, how'd that go down? Well, they were sleeping in their truck when we pulled up that morning. And I think we were all cranky from having to go down there. And we didn't know what was going on. Really didn't have no expectations, didn't know what was going to happen. And when we got in there, we went in got on that little farm where Bruce is down there. It's a really cool place. And once we got inside and seen he had the old school board and a 2-inch tape machine and like breakfast burritos on the table, Bruce is just so laid back. And I think, we were like talking to ganja. So doing a little prayer there with ganja. And I think we were going to do these 2 covers, and after that, everything changed. And I had these half-finished songs, and I just liked his room so much. Liked Bruce so much, and the guys, man, I mean, may the Creator forever bless them, because I don't know why they followed me through all these shows. I can't really, it ain't for the money. You can ask them. And come on, man, and man, I don't know. Yeah, I think one of them I had written with Cullen Fox, plays with me, utility man extraordinaire. He and we were writing one on that RV that we were driving around that you probably saw. Mm-hmm. And we were just tooling around, and that came up with that one. And then I just kind of had forgot about it and never finished it out or nothing. And then the other one was called River of Sorrow. It was kind of a gospel I had written, just kind of a cappella, clapping my hands with another friend of mine up in Northern California named Kyle Madrigal. And that was another one that I didn't have finished, but I work really well that way. If I feel inspired in the studio, I got 10,000 half-finished songs.
Right.
So if I can feel inspired on one of them in a space where it's like you got this deadline and not enough time to deal with it, that's when you can cut something really good, And mm-hmm. I just, where my mind might be, mashed potatoes most of the time, there's this thing where it crystallizes. My focus, I'm really good at focusing in a studio when it matters, and if I feel inspired, and I can find lyrics that I was swimming around looking for a year. We'll find them in 60 seconds. 'Cause then you figure out what you want to say,
Yeah.
So I think I had this. We didn't have a ending verse for River of Sorrow, a verse after the solo section, where the little bridge solo section, and it was like, I would stay here to keep on working, but there's no more water in the well, It's like, sometimes things like that, you can live your life by it, and I searched for the statement for years, and then it just pops into your head. And,
right.
Bruce was there to cut it with that tape, man, and then we put out these little 45s, and they're pretty hot, man.
Yeah. Just for kicks, what were the 2 covers?
Hell, I don't even remember. Oh, one of them was a Billy Swan tune called "I Can Help."
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that one in the bars and stuff, and then I forgot it for a couple years, and then Colin plays upright bass with me, sings and stuff. He'd been saying we should cut that song. And I forget what the other cover was. It was going to be like, probably some honky-tonk song. I can't even think of what it was. I know so many songs, we just kind of,
Right. Yeah. When you put out that last record, the blues one, blues covers, I had tweeted out, obviously, the math of it is not that hard math, but it was like, y'all put 3 records out in 18 months, basically.
Is that what we did?
Or 22 months or something like that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just that's really, no one's putting out records that quickly. What is it about, I guess, do you feel like you're just in a good moment, or do you feel like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we're on a hot streak, let's try and get
I don't ask anybody,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't ask for anybody's, I'm not asking permission to record here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's hard, but it's hard to be in a position where you aren't asking permission and people are saying you got to put it out now or later or whatever. Nah, man. I'll be like, people will be like, well, let's do this over here, and this producer and that or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. And then I'll go in the studio the next week and cut a whole record and be like, but look at this.
Yeah.
Look at here, And that's been on pretty much all of them, especially all the ones I've produced or co-produced myself, kind of being in the lead spot of producing with some of my friends that I like the way we can put stuff together. So like Blue Bonanza was me producing that with Billy Horton. Same thing with James, with Lil GL's Hockey Tonk Jubilee with Jamestown and all that. I did that with Billy Horton and Jay Moeller. And the night I did that one myself, producing it with Billy and Jay. And then I did Lonesome Shadow with Matt Rossbang, and so that was a little bit different for me. Still think it came out real good.
He's on a hot streak too.
He's a bad dude, man. He really is. And I'm pretty naive in the way that I look at like production.
Mm-hmm.
But in this generation, that makes me a unique cat because I'm more about taking away than adding layers. But like in a live band setting, and so I love collaborating with people. But I think I bring something about. I think what makes my music maybe sound like old school or old time is just that I'm trying to get great live performances without a lot of like fancy embellishments.
Right. It feels like you work really well in these, in like the spontaneous moments of just like, hey, we're gonna go in and we only got this amount of time, and you're not overthinking it. There's no way to overthink. If you only got X amount of days, so many takes. You know what I mean? And those guys back in the day, they didn't have forever to cut songs,
No, man. I mean, they really didn't. It's like when you'd read about those Hank Williams sessions or Elmore James sessions, that studio session where they were cutting, it's all live, but that would be like a 4-hour session.
Mm-hmm.
And they would get, in an afternoon, they would have 4 complete songs, For all the technology we got out there, people seem to just be going longer and longer, but it's like, a lot of people like the way that tape sounds. I like the way that tape sounds too, but the tape is also just printing. Cats that could really do it live had a great ability to capture that magic in the take rather than trying to like somehow create it in post or something.
Right.
And so that's where I really shine. And like we've always played a lot of shows, and I've been playing a long time. It's like the band has been out here playing, running laps out here, and we've played several hundred shows together, this particular unit. And then before that, we're doing 2-3 shows a day in like bars and beer joints and stuff. And then for years before that, I was playing, in the corner, on the street corner in New Orleans or in a subway in New York, a million itinerant places. And so I've just always been playing a lot of other people's songs and always writing all along the way. So for me, it's more about whenever I can get a window to get 2-3 clear days to really cut, I'm going to get something that I like.
Right.
That's, so it's more like there's a lot of bureaucracy in politics that will slow all that recording process down. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, depending on who you're pertaining to, what artist or like what situation.
Right.
But for me, I think the records I've been able to put out since 2015, which was really the first time I ever pressed one up. Like I ever pressed it up and distributed it myself. I had lots of mixtapes when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
The difference in 2015, I still recorded it in a farmhouse with a bunch of just rural people that played instruments, but were not professional players.
Right.
But great musicians. And I just pressed up 5,000 copies of them. That was the real difference. How often does a nobody coming out of nowhere, drifter like me, get a little juice? Well, 5,000 physical copies in today's digital world is meaningful.
Right.
It doesn't matter if people bought them or just took them. That'll make a dent if you're only giving, like, I'd give them out at shows. I think when you're unknown at a certain level, trying to get people to buy your music that have no reason to want to buy it, you just shoot yourself in the foot. It's better to get the music in front of people. And so I come from that school, from being like a solo player, hitting my little ditties for change out of the case, you know.
Yeah.
And so I've always subscribed to that style. That I do business that way.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask you about this. Is obviously you're busking, you're playing on corners, you're playing in Subway and stuff like that, and you, by all means, were successful at that. You're as good as that could be. But at some point, obviously, you started making records. Was there like maybe a switch in how like you had to go, okay, I gotta stop doing this just to focus on going in and like starting to record? Or
look, man, as a street player, you know, the thing that can keep you improving in the street game is youth. Mm-hmm. You know, but eventually that type of lifestyle will catch up, even if you're smart. You just can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't just always be out there running around with the lightning rod out in the storm.
Right.
You can't always get away with that. And it was just, you know, getting to a place where it was like, you know, I've said that a lot, where it's like, I'm not the best dude to come off the street by any means, not even close, in my own opinion. But I am notable because I have come off the street. Right. And I'm making this transition to be able to play, like, you know, play these clubs and these theaters and kind of do, like, get out there and play around the world on my own version of it. And that's how I was able to do that, because the things that were making me a great performer was the repetition, all of the stimulation of, like, being around jazz one moment, deep honky-tonk the next, folk music, hip-hop, just by living on the streets of America and the back roads and on farms. And all you're going to do is meet people, you know. I learned how to play by watching the hands of other street bands, watching the hands of the guitar players. And then eventually I would start remembering what the shapes are and how to hold them when I look at them and stuff. And then later I started learning a little bit of numbers to be able to, you know, communicate what I'm trying to do at a basic level, like try to like get off the street into like playing clubs. That transition for me was blues jams. Mm-hmm. You know, open mics too, but like open mics is just you and your guitar. But leading a band that can go play theaters and like hit that Texas and Louisiana boogie all the time, like you can't, like, you can be born with the tendency to like pick that up, but you still have to do it all the time. Yeah. And so, like, that's kind of what it's just that's just life. That's just the cycle of like a crop, you know. It's like you got to go through your growth cycle as a person, as a man, you know. It's just like sleeping on a hardwood floor and squatting in warehouses is a lot easier to do when you're 25 than 35. Right. And honestly, it's a lot easier to like withstand the like parts of this business that can burn holes through the stage, you know, as you get older, because you start learning how to deal with like people and influences and like business. And because you want to be as naive to that stuff as you want, you're going to get took. Yeah. You know, right. It doesn't matter what business we're talking about here, you know. So yeah, no. You know, you're talking about your band. What do you call your band? The Blue Notes? The Blue Drifters.
Blue Drifters. There you go.
Yeah.
Man, I've thought about like you guys, and I think, okay, so like hypothetically, if there was like a songwriter dude just wanting to cut a one-off record, you know, I think like you think of like guys like the Texas Gentlemen as being like a great backing band. Just like if you went in there and just
they are, man. They can do anything.
I think like you guys, and I think like Mike and the Moon Pies, like would be like
band, man.
Like the three, I would just go, hey, just make a one-off record with this singer-song. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's really kind of you to say, man. Yeah. I'm honored to be mentioned among those dudes and the band. You know, those the Blue Drifters, man. Yeah, that's something I've talked about for a long time. But I'm like, I want to see the Blue Drifters make records.
Well, there you go. Yeah, like if like just the Blue Drifters had a record. Yeah. Or like
just like the Blue Drifters record, or just like I got a lot of artists that I love, both old and young, that I'd just be like, man, I wish this cat or this gal would just, you know, just record. Let me get them to just play with the Blue Drifters, and right, and do our thing. You know, and I know a lot of people feel like that about their stuff, but like, well, my guys are doing it special because if you listen to these cats it's like they can walk it, you know. All these guys can walk it because everybody in my band, the prerequisite has been many thousands of hours playing roots music. And I'm talking everything from honky-tonk, country, and soul, and all the little cracks and crevices.
Yeah.
All these dudes got thousands of hours apiece logging on that, coming up in back rooms.
Yeah.
All
who's,
of them.
who's I can't think of his name. The auxiliary guy.
That's Cullen Fox.
Yeah, I remember. I saw him a bunch with Sons of Fathers.
Yeah, dude, and he was touring with Ian Moore when he was back when he was 18.
Oh yeah.
And let me just tell you, that was a long time ago.
Ian Moore's playing at Blue Light in 2 weeks or something, 3 weeks from now.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad to hear that, man. He's been getting out down here more in
Yeah.
Texas and stuff. He's always been around, man. That's cool. That's really good to hear. We sold a few tickets tonight. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah,
I was a little worried because I never played earlier than 11 p.m., you know? And usually 11:30, right, before we start getting going over there at Blue Light. But the last couple times, man, they've really come in there, you know? Both times I was surprised, you know? If 30, 40 people were in there, I was ready for that. But they've come out. It's been cool.
Yeah, I mean, what I always like is, you can see a band in either place, who can play either Blue Light or Cactus, or both. You get what I'm saying? American Aquarium's played both, and they sound great in both places. But it's interesting to always see a band, I guess, deliver something that you're not necessarily accustomed to. You know what I mean? I've seen BJ at Blue Light 100 times, and they're especially in the first times I saw them, they're a dive bar band just playing and.
I know BJ come up scrapping, man.
But seeing him at Cactus, it's like a theater show, and it's like
he can really do that too. It's magical.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see y'all tonight. See what
they've underestimated BJ Barham, and he's just that was a mistake for anybody doing that because that dude, he's got when people are out of gas, he's got a lot more juice. That's what I love about him. I learned so much from BJ. He's such a great performer and songwriter, and he's a good person.
Yeah.
And strong. You get all that together, that works out pretty good. Yeah.
He's so much of a solo writer. Have you ever I think most of his songs are just written by him. Have you guys ever?
We've done some stuff where we sang together on I had him do an Ernest Tubb song where he led it and my band played with it, and then he led that Willis Allen Ramsey tune, Northeast Texas Women. So that's as much as we've done, but I would love for BJ to take a wreck of a song of mine and make it good, or let me him apply some kind of a melody of mine to his stuff. I love American Tobacco Company, man.
Yeah.
That is a great song. The imagery and just the way he paints that picture. He's got a lot of them, but BJ's just getting better and better, man. He's got a John Prine lane all his own, one of them dudes I think is going to be better known the older he gets.
Right.
And that's the goal. Not a lot of people can do that.
Well, last time you were up here, you also played, I don't know the name of the song, but you mentioned that it was a co-write or something that you had started working on with Evan.
Oh, I did. We finished that song. Yeah, we did a song. We wrote a song together called Borrowed Time, and talked about a smart cat.
Well, what's it like writing with Evan? What's the?
Oh man, it's I don't know. It feels really lucky, I'll tell you that, because he's an elusive guy. He's I always imagine him deep in the sunset somewhere in the South, living that good life in the country when he's not on the road. He's just really living life. So it's anytime he puts one of his ideas about how life is, just a couple lines. That's all it took, man. He mentioned he had a couple amazing lines in his head that he had been thinking about, and I started this melody that I've been playing for 3-4 days straight, and it was wild how we were able to whip that up into a song without even thinking about it. And then but I was riding on the bus with him for a couple of days. I think we was out in the mountains of the desert out in the Southwest, and then that hasn't happened since. So I need to go find that boy out in the thicket and get him to drop another gem on me.
Yeah.
Come on. I think I owe him. I owe him one. He laid one down on me. It's awesome.
Yeah. But it's what I find so interesting about songwriting is, for like me, I've got like, it's not even like a line or anything, but if I come up with something for an article or like,
what do you got? Ready? We could cut it right now.
No, I don't have any song ideas. I'm saying, like, if I got an idea to describe somebody, I got to write it down like that instant, and you're talking like, you just got this melody in your head for 4 days. What do you do? Like, do you write stuff down? Or you like or do you subscribe to the whole, if it's good enough, it's gonna stick, where you don't have to write it down? If it's good enough, it's meant to.
Oh, it turned off. Hold on. Well, I think, God damn it. There she goes. Hold on. It cooks up the flour. It's not oil or nothing. It just cooks up the flour, which I really like. I'm just all over the place.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that I end up recording is stuff that was over time I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so yeah. Like if it's good enough, it'll stick. That's me a lot. Sometimes I do write stuff down. Like I wrote this song called 10,000 Acres, and I saw the 10,000 Acres somewhere. I think I saw it like on a screen of an old classic movie I was watching or something. Just that 10,000 written out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just saw. Sometimes there's 2 words and you see a whole song, even if you don't know what the song is. So that happens a lot. And a lot of times the melodies come first, and I'll like tighten up these melodies with these old progressions. Mm-hmm. Mostly like real traditional folk type of stuff. Even some of the stuff, if you hear me cut songs more R&B, it's likely that it started out like much more like everything starts out pretty traditional,
Right.
So, like I could even show you that. It's like, you know that song of mine, If Not the Fool? Yeah, so it's like that R&B version is like, and that's the If Not the Full version, but like the first way I ever actually did that song, I did it in A, and I was playing it at 6/8, like old Louisiana soul, like old Louisiana, it's an old Cajun thing or something, where it's like, who am I now, if not the fool? Keep on playing these games where she makes all the rules. What is my name? Who have I to blame for losing you? It's like all I did is go to the minor in that same key.
Right.
And that's maybe the way that I've learned how to play music, is I understand and like really come in through a lot of classic soul, a lot of hip hop, a lot of classic hip hop, talking about a lot of 90s hip hop,
Yeah.
But all that stuff was sampling all the great soul and all that stuff, and so that got me into music. And then as I got older, I started getting into Ernest Tubb and stuff on the street, and like George Jones, like drinking songs, man. And all of a sudden, those were hitting me deeper than any other stuff I'd ever heard. I realized it was like blues. It was like this really great songwriting version of blue music.
Yeah.
Not just straight blues, which I play a lot of too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just go in those different moods, and that's how I write songs too. So it's like sometimes I'll write them like a rockabilly blues. I tend to do that. I'll do the Chuck Berry, Fats Domino type thing. And the other times I want to write straight honky tonk, just tear jerkers.
Right. Yeah. On that Bonanza record, you do, That's How I Got to Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's like top 5, top 10 song for me all time. Like, I love that song.
Man, right.
And I think, like, I've not ever heard anyone do like a bad version of it either.
Right. That is testament to how good the song is.
Yeah.
And like, man, you can half sing it and people are still like, man, I love that song.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I don't know.
So what are you trying to say, bro?
But it's
hey, man, what are you trying to say right now?
It's such a damn good song, though.
If so enough, man. That's a Tom T. Hall, boy.
Tom T. Hall, yeah. You did that one. And you did also. This is connected to a question. You did "Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues." Another one of my favorite songs. Most people think of those as like country songs.
Yeah.
It's on your blues record though.
Yeah.
What does that show? Like the diversity of, or like the, not necessarily the diversity, but like the how those songs can be morphed into anything. They got like a little bit of a timelessness where they can be like your country standard, quote unquote, or they can be more of a blues feel. They can be more of a folk feel.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I mean, I think what I did on purpose on that album is I made sure that it was full of really good blues, and then I laced it with a bunch of good country. Mm-hmm. Because it's like country is such, it's a popular term itself.
Right.
The idea of country music is a popular term. This country is so big that, I mean, it's like, it would be foolish to talk about country as if blues isn't part of that.
Yeah.
There's just no way around that. Like, folk music, Appalachian, like, folk banjo, and blues being played from Blind Lemon Jefferson or Lightning Hopkins, they're not coming. It's not coming from. I just don't think those places are. What's up, Mitchell?
Hey, man, good to see you.
Like you too, man. Those places ain't. They're just not that. They're not far apart.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I also, Bo, though, it's like why I gravitate towards somebody like George Jones or Hank Williams, is those guys, to me, they're like the bluest kind of honky tonk singer.
Yeah.
And like with Hank's background, it's like he really learned how to play street music, and like in street music to a lot of people in that day just automatically think of it as blues, but actually lots of itinerant performers playing dances, playing on corners, playing parties, house shows, all that type of stuff. They're playing anything they could play at that back time, right?
Yeah.
A street player who you call a blues player was playing polkas, was playing fiddle tunes. They're playing the jig, dancing tunes. Country dancing tunes has always made money for street performers. And that's also why it sells on the radio.
Right. But
You know?
Also, I mean, if you look at like Jimmy Rogers, I mean, that dude's like a blues guy, but like he's also considered, you know, like the father of country music.
That's a color thing, you know?
Yeah.
There's color involved, and it's just how people market stuff, you know?
Right.
And like, to me, it's kind of funny because I'm like, I'm just curious who the people are that like debate country and blues.
Right.
Because if you look around what's going on in like modern music, it just seems like, I don't know what we're arguing about here.
Yeah.
Because there's a way bigger problem. You know what I'm trying to say? I just think it's funny because I get a lot of cats. Actually, I was my girl Liza was going to pick up her boots from a Austin shoe repair when I was coming back from the hospital the other day, and James, the man that him and his brothers, I think they own this. They got this. It's a really great boot repair company. And I gave him a couple CDs last time we was in there, and then I went back to get these boots Eliza's fixed. And he was like, I gave him a couple CDs last time. It was I gave him Blue Bonanza and In the Night. That was like a week or two ago, and then I came back in to pick up them other boots. And I'm like, you know, dressed like I am, you know, I like my Western style, but a little spice, a little flair, whatever. And he hands me the boots, and he's like, I don't care what they call you, Charlie. That's blues, baby. And I was laughing. I just appreciated where he was coming from, because I'm like, I don't care what they call it, you know, because it's like, I would like to think that, I think I do country music. I think I do it as good a service as anybody in this country under 50. And if they're over 50, they're better than me, and they're already a hero. You know, if you're talking about James Hand or Dale Watson and them, Jim Stringer, those type of dudes, there's just nobody better around. Bob Apple. He's a younger cat. He's so good. You know Bob Apple? You heard of him? Mm-mm. He's been playing at the Spoke on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
This cat, I don't even know if he knows how good he is. Anyway, I go sit and watch him, and Nathan Fleming plays deal with him. All Austin honky tonk luminaries. They just float around in those joints, and I go watch them play and wish they were on the road with me, but they need to stay at home, because what my guys go through and what we do on the stage is the whole of the world. It really is. But well, look what you done made me do. I lost my train of thought.
Just American music.
Yeah.
You're talking about just being like, you do country as well as anyone under 50.
I'm new slang.
Exactly.
I am. It's new slang. These people are crazy. It's like
I always thought that was like maybe just the best thing I've ever. I didn't come up with it, but like.
Well, I don't think I realized what it was about till just now. I'm slow. I tell people all the time, I get underestimated a lot, or I think in my life over the years, even since I was a kid, depending on how you come at me, can seem like a real slow person, like mentally, and I am slow. I've always been slow to pick stuff up. Like, I'm really slow early on. Slow. Everybody's like, man, where's Charlie, man? He's so far back there. He's gone, man. Forget about him. And then way later, even after that, after everybody forgot about me, man, I catch up and figure it out and then blast off.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, what I mean is I'm a slow learner, or I got a thick head, or I got to learn the hard way, or just I got to walk that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it's like, why not, do what I do? It's like, because I love honky tonk music. I love soul and R&B. I love Zydeco and Cajun. I love that so much. Just what I call Texas and Louisiana, and just so much stuff that I really like. And, we were listening to, Cullen was jamming this, it was a Graham Parsons live bootleg that they've put out, I guess, in the last 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. I don't keep up with that stuff much, but he really does. And anyway, it ended up being a bootleg recording from, what was the room he said? Some old ballroom in San Francisco.
Okay.
And we were listening to it on the way up here, man, and I was like listening to the band, and I was like, Graham was singing a George Jones song that I have on a record. It's that one that was like, the mayor gave me the key to the city. Blah, 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 whatever it's called. She once lived here, whatever. And I was listening to Graham sing it. Oh, cut that out. I didn't sing it very good. But anyway, no, what it was is Graham was doing old George Jones song. Obscure one that nobody does now even. Just shows you how good a taste and how deep in that stuff he was. And the band is like, it's just, they sound like this really tight soul R&B country band. The backbeat, the way that, that the kick and the drummer stuff and the bass player, and I'm like, it's just like, man, there's something about with Graham, the Flying Burrito Brothers thing.
Right.
Like, it's just something about Graham,
Have you ever heard those?
Because he was talking, man, it's weird talking about him, because he was talking about, a lot of cats just get caught up in the same conversation, because he would say the same stuff. He was like, man, I'm highly influenced by gospel.
Yeah.
I mean, can you call gospel only country, or can you say that gospel's roots are in country and not blues?
Right.
That's a ridiculous statement. Or vice versa, it's like claiming it's all blues and country ain't, like country gospel ain't got nothing to do with it. It's like, man.
I was going to ask you, have you heard the Graham Parsons? There's one record, International Submarine Band. Like, it was like his first band and first record.
Man, I hear people talk about it all the time. I'm pretty naive.
It's pretty great.
Narrow and deep depends on what you ask me about. Yeah, I keep hearing a lot about that. And like Cullen and them, they listen to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I know some of like Graham's just random cuts that I've been turned on to and stuff. Like, I started playing Graham Parsons songs in New York City. This Rastafarian dude was a huge Graham Parsons fan. A lot of them island folk really love country music, classic country. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, it's interesting, because like then I get into like really classic reggae and classic honky tonk are so much more similar than you would realize. And it's just interesting. I used to play on trains and play a lot of music in New York City with cats from all over the Caribbean. And a lot of those dudes had really deep love. Like when I started doing like Ernest Tubb, like driving nails, my coffin, all picking out stuff up, or my bucket's got a hole in it type stuff. Mm-hmm. Those guys loved that music and they already knew it, And anyway, make a long story short, there was a Rastafarian guy working at this restaurant, this grocery store in the West Village where I used to play it on the street, and I go up there and eat it from the hot bar, and go eat upstairs sometimes. And anyway, he was really into all Graham Parsons. That's where he taught me Sin City and Juanita, you know. And I'm like, dude, a Rastafarian dude in Manhattan put me on the Graham.
Right.
You know, I think Graham would think that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, that's why I call it Texas Louisiana music. So it's like, hey man, I'm a specialist because I grew up in those places, and you know I'm gonna do it my way, because all my heroes, they're all so good. It's like it would just be ridiculous trying to copy Robert Johnson or somebody like Lefty Frizzell. You just look ridiculous trying to copy him. So it's like you have to do it your way,
right?
You know, and like that's all you can do, man. That's all you can do is lay down the music, and like it can be there for the like people to dig or like not. That's all it is.
Right.
You know.
Well, I mean, there's already. Well, one of my things about like cover bands is like, if you're why would I want to listen to that when I can just go listen to the original? You know. That's part of like some of it's like that. So it's like
I feel like that even though I cover all kind of songs. But like I feel like that a lot.
You get what I'm saying? Like especially if it's like technically like really really the same version, you know. It's like okay, I'm gonna just listen to whoever.
Well, that's the thing about like, look man, like in this society today, we're gonna have to decide like what we're about. This generation, you know, like people have a lot of differences, very real differences, but like there's also this generation thing, you know. And
how much do you get of people coming in and telling you, you know, you've I can play this with my grandparents or like my parents, and we all of a sudden we know the same stuff all of a sudden because this is music they listen to growing up.
You talking about with the grandparents and the kids and stuff?
Like how often does that happen where you're like, you know, an older couple comes up and is like, oh, my grandkids turned me on to you, or vice versa.
Yeah. Or like somebody will come out and see us play, and then the next time we roll through that town, like the grandparent they were telling me about will be like up front in a wheelchair. Or a lot of times it's the other way around. Like in Austin, I saw this couple, they were probably in their mid-60s, and they were real hip and into like, they just loved classic blues and country stuff.
Right.
And they told me they were going to bring like their kids who sounded real cool. You know, I didn't know nothing about them, but they sounded real interesting. They lived in Denver, wherever they were from. And this was down in Austin. And then I can't remember what town it was in. It was some other town they didn't even mention in some other part of the country. And there they were with the whole family, you know, and the kids were there, and they were big fans, and I was so surprised. Yeah. You know, because it's like, you know, you do this type of music so long, or like I felt, you know, just that's kind of what I was saying about like with the generation stuff. You know, it's like the way I look at it is in this era, there's a lot of things that, you know, I don't know how future generations are going to look at what's going on right now, but they're going to be looking at it. And I'm trying, my main thing is that I got to record the music with integrity and my authenticity, like my nature. I got to protect that, because that's the only thing that's going to make me have any value or anything to offer to people in a couple of generations. Right. And a lot of people there's so much stuff that I'm just relating back to you, where it's like, hey man, if you don't really got something to say, you know, it ain't the way you say it. What did Loretta say? Loretta said, you're either first, best, or different. You know, can't be first. Yeah. Sorry, not usually. Usually can't be the best. Yeah. You know, but it's like, that's why I get after it like that, you know. And it's like, you know, people talk about these good old days of music, or like, you know, when it was real, or like whatever. It's like, man, hard times have always been falling on people, and that's why where the music comes from. It's not like these cats playing New Orleans jazz were like doing it in comfort. Right. Come on, that's not where it comes from. Yeah. You know, that's not why you give thanks and praise, man. It's because it's enduring the struggle and whatever. You know, don't let me. I'm preaching now. Let me get out the way. We always look back at stuff with like a nostalgic eye, you know, like rose-colored glasses kind of thing. Rose-colored glasses. And it's always like, I always hear people, you know, like. Getting to be about that time.
talk about like Townes Van Zandt or Guy Clark is, being great artists in the 70s, and granted they were, but also I'm like, y'all realize they weren't like selling out places. Like they were struggling, and they would be if they're around, they'd be struggling right now, and that's part of the thing. So I mean, like
everybody romanticizes, it's just, and life can be very romantic, but it can also be really hard. And man, I think about that with Townes all the time. It's like, I think they say he basically never played to more than over 50 people in a room. That was like the top of his average.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's something to really think about.
Yeah.
There is something really, really, really alluring about that, though. There is something attractive about that type of, I know a little bit about that in my own way from just like all that street time. As hard as all that stuff was, I do like find myself. It was really, man, I didn't have a phone for 5 years or something, in my 20s, and 7 years, or I didn't have a driver's license, nothing, man. And I didn't have a bank account for 8 years, maybe longer, and so I find myself romanticizing about that sometimes myself, so it's like,
well, there's like have you ever heard I'll get it out of this on this.
No, it's all good.
This moment right here.
Yeah, I gotta take a day off late.
The song "Cold Dog Soup" by Guy Clark. There's like a line about, I've had all the freedom I can stand. About like, just like, the whole.
How do you mean? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, it's like he's kind of like saying like, I'm tired of I've had all the freedom I can stand is like.
Right, to like
he's talking about like,
so carefree.
Like, I love like the carefree aspects, but maybe the struggling is not nearly as great as it seems. I don't know. They always say hard work pays off, and you're gonna have success. But maybe at that point, he's just thinking, I could use a little bit of that success.
Man, I will. Oh yeah, especially those cats, man. Yeah, especially those cats.